Hello everyone. I hope you all are doing well and preparing well for your examinations. I am CS Anupama Pandey here with the revision of chapter number 6 of your Capital Market and Securities Law subject. So as you can see on the screen, I have prepared summarized notes for you all to revise your chapters during the examinations. You may pin me on the number visible for the notes. So our chapter's name is Securities Market Intermediaries. So I have myself completed my articleship from a company which had came up with its IPO. So I'm very well aware about the significance of stock market intermediaries in day-to-day workings of a listed company and for the company which is planning to come up with its IPO. So as you can see on the screen, here is a regulatory framework provided. So for every chapter, there is regulatory framework which provides for the list of regulations which will govern that specific topic we are studying. So to give you a brief, during my articleship, when my company came up with its IPO, I came to interact with many intermediaries, for example, merchant bankers who look after the A to Z execution of your IPO, right from application to the SEBI to the listing stage. Later, there are RTAs, underwriters, bankers to the issue, stock exchanges, SEBI for sure, depositories, and self-certified syndicate banks who provide the ASBA facility, credit rating agencies, and other brokers. So as you can see on the screen, as the name suggests, SEBI Intermediaries Regulation 2008 is an umbrella regulation which regulates the intermediaries in the stock market. And for few of the intermediaries, there are specific regulations provided for them apart from the umbrella regulation. For example, there is SEBI Merchant Bankers Regulation 1992, SEBI Registrar and Share Transfer Agents Regulation 1993, SEBI Bankers to an Issue Regulation 1994, and many more. So why is this framework matters? It provides protection to the investors and ensures fair markets, prescribes for the registration process, further conducts the inspection, and prescribes the penalties. What all are the key powers of SEBI? To grant, refuse, suspend, and cancel the registration of the intermediaries, to inspect their books, call for other information, penalize them in case of contravention, and impose such other conditions from time to time. Further, to appoint inspecting authorities and issue directives. Our second topic is basic introduction and objective of intermediaries and types of intermediaries. So what are intermediaries? So intermediaries are the service providers in the securities market who connect issuers and investors and the market infrastructure. SEBI registers and regulates these intermediaries under the Regulation 11 of SEBI Act. Why do they exist and what is the significance of stock market intermediaries? They smoothen the investment process. They act as a link between the companies and the investors. They help small investors to diversify their investments and savings and provide advices from time to time. They provide market infrastructure, for example, trading, settlement, custody, registrar services, and many more. What is the objective of intermediaries? This is same as we have studied above, which is smoothen the investment process. They act as link between investors and the issuers, market corporate and government securities on behalf of issuers are provided by them. They help the investors to diversify their savings and investment, provide infrastructure for primary and secondary markets. Types of intermediaries. So intermediaries are basically divided into primary intermediaries and secondary market intermediaries. So primary market intermediaries are merchant bankers, banker to an issue, registrar to an issue, and share transfer agent, underwriters, and debenture trustees. So basically, for the companies which are coming up with their IPOs for the first time, these are the intermediaries who help them execute the same. And secondary market intermediaries are those who who are the intermediaries for the companies which are already listed and being traded on the stock exchanges on daily basis. So these intermediaries help out those companies and the investors selling in their securities. So for the primary market, here are the one-liners I have provided for the roles which these primary market intermediaries play. Merchant bankers, they manage, advise, and arrange the public issues, underwriting and IPOs of a company. Banker to an issue collects the application monies, refunds them, and manages the escrow account opened. Registrars and share transfer agents, they look after the allotment process, they dispatch the certificates and refunds, and they further maintain the records of the investors. Underwriters are those who guarantee the subscription in case of under subscription of shares provided to the public. And debenture trustees are those who protect the debenture holders and they monitor the covenants and security of the debenture holders. Secondary market intermediaries are stockbrokers, depositories, हमारा NSDL and CDSL, depository participants, custodians, share transfer agents. Share transfer agents are for both primary market and secondary market as well. Portfolio managers, investment advisors, research analysts, credit rating agencies, and our foreign portfolio investors. So these are some of the secondary market intermediaries. We are going to discuss in detail about these intermediaries in our further topics. Our third topic is Security SEBI Intermediaries Regulation 2008, which is our umbrella regulation. So it is the regulation that require intermediaries to get SEBI certificate. It further defines their eligibility and their obligations, code of conduct, and inspection and penalties in case of contravention. So moving on to the registration process of these intermediaries. So they have to apply in Form A for Schedule 1 with fees and required documents. For brokers, depository participants, clearing members, application is routed through stock exchange, clearing corporation, depository with recommendations. They must forward within the 30 days. SEBI may seek additional information. SEBI, if considers fit and proper, they provide them with the certificates, and if not, they refuse the same. If it is refused for false information, they cannot apply for a period of 1 year. Conditions and duties attached to the certificate. They must comply with the relevant laws, guidelines, and pay fees, maintain eligibility criteria, display registration certificate at their offices, disclose compliance officer contact details, and maintain books and records from time to time. So these are some of the duties which are attached to their certificate and registration provided to them. What all are the general obligations and common, which is common across all the intermediaries? So they have to comply with annual compliance officer certificate, which is issued on 1st of April. It is a continuous compliance. Maintain investor grievance records and redress within 45 days. Many intermediaries must redress within 21 days. We will discuss further. Maintain books and records for specified period, usually for 5 years and sometimes for 8 years. And appoint compliance officer whose contact details are displayed at their offices. So these are some of the general obligations. Redressal of investor grievances. So intermediaries must attempt to redress investor complaints promptly. and upload quarterly grievance information to SEBI on the website. टाइमलाइन क्या है? 45 days यूजुअली जनरल टाइमलाइन है. Certain intermediaries like RTA, merchant bankers, and portfolio manager have to uh, provide with the grievance redressal within 21 days of complaint being received. So, appointment of compliance officer is very mandatory for all the intermediaries. So, they have to appoint one compliance officer. Officer must report material non-compliance to board and intermediaries in writing. Compliance officer contacts must be displayed at the office of the intermediaries. Investment advice rules. Intermediary and staff cannot give investment advice in public media without disclosing direct or indirect interest. Advice must be suitable for client and cannot recommend unless reasonable ground to believe is provided. Intermediaries must avoid conflicts and disclose interest of employees and dependent फैमिली मेंबर्स. इसके ऊपर एग्जाम में भी क्वेश्चन आ सकता है. When can an intermediary give investment advice in media? So you have to answer only after disclosure of relevant interest. Code of conduct of stock market intermediaries are: intermediaries and their personnel must follow Schedule 3 Code of Conduct, which includes investor protection, avoid conflict of interest, maintain confidentiality, and duty of care. Due care must be taken. Restrictions on non-association with certain persons. No SEBI-regulated person or its agent may associate directly or indirectly with a person who provides investment advice or recommendations relating to securities unless registered and allowed by SEBI, or makes claims about returns or performance of securities unless permitted by SEBI. एक्सेप्शन क्या है? किस केसेस में वो एसोसिएट हो सकते हैं? Association through a specified digital platform. The regulated person must ensure its associates do not engage in those prohibited activities without permission. SEBI may take action in case of non-contravention. Here are few of the questions I have framed for a quick revision with the answers in one-liners. You can go through it, which is a FAQ on the topics we have studied so far. I have provided with some of the questions which may be asked in the examinations. Here, a tabular representation of all the intermediaries I have provided you with their definition, key rules, net worth requirement for eligibility, key compliance and audit points, exam focus areas, and some of the memory tips which you may refer, and you can make your own memory tips for remembering and recalling the concepts. So our first one is merchant banker. They manage the public issues, underwriting and advisory for securities. Their key role is to manage IPO, FPO, private placement, underwritings and filings with SEBI. Net worth requirement में क्या है? 5 crore minimum. Key compliance audit points क्या है? Maintain records for at least 5 years. Appoint compliance officer. Redress grievances within 21 days. Exam focus points are functions, 5 crore net worth, grievance redressal timeline. Registrar and share transfer agent. They maintain investor records and process application allotments and handle the share transfer. There are few pre-issue and post-issue functions as well. For example, forms collection and during the issue, reports maintenance is their pre-issue function, and post-issue are refunds and dispatches. Category 1, 50 lakh eligibility criteria, and if they fall under the category 2, rupees 25 lakh is the criteria for registrars and share transfer agent. They must preserve records for 8 years, appoint a compliance officer, and grievance must be redressed within 21 days. Banker to an issue. They are the scheduled banks that collect, refund, and manage the issue proceeds. They collect, transfer, the funds, maintain the escrow account, refund the money, and coordinate with issuer and the SEBI. Their eligibility criteria is as per the RBI norms. They must maintain records and agreement with the issuer must be undertaken. Report RBI and SEBI about their actions from time to time. Since they are the bankers, they have to report to the RBI as well. Fund collection and escrow duties are some of the basic functions and main functions of banker to an issue. Debenture trustee, they protect the interest of the debenture holders. They monitor the covenants. Covenants are basically the main clauses of the debenture trustee agreement, DTA, and ensure the security creation, report default to the SEBI and the debenture holders. Eligibility criteria is 10 crore. Monitor the issuer reports, maintain records, notify SEBI on breach. 10 crore is the eligibility criteria with respect to the net worth. Stockbrokers are the persons with trading rights executing buy and sell orders in the stock market. They execute trade, issue contract notes, maintain books, and segregate clients' fund. Their net worth criteria is as prescribed by the SEBI and exchanges from time to time. So some of the basic functions are they must maintain records of at least 5 years. They must appoint compliance officer and exchange inspections to be undertaken whenever directed by the SEBI. Portfolio managers, they manage the client's investment on discretionary and non-discretionary basis. Personalized portfolio management, fiduciary role, and separate client accounts are some of the functions of portfolio managers. Eligibility criteria is of 5 crore net worth. What all are the functions and key compliances which they have to undertake are they must appoint a compliance officer, redress grievance within 21 days, and maintain records for at least 5 years. Custodians, they hold the client securities safely and manage the corporate actions. Open custody accounts, segregate assets, collect benefits. Internal controls are some of the functions of custodians. Eligibility criteria is of rupees 50 crore net worth, 50 crore capital. Robust internal audit is some of the functions of custodian and compliances of the custodian which they have to undertake. Maintain the records and segregation of assets. Investment advisor, they give investment advice for consideration in lieu of money. They provide advice, disclose conflict, and act as fiduciary to the investors. They segregate the advisory from other businesses. Non-individual, 50 lakh is the criteria with respect to net worth. And if they are individual, rupees 5 lakh is the criteria for net worth to be a eligible investment advisor. Annual compliance audit, maintaining KYC records, appointment of compliance officer are some of the compliance to be undertaken by the investment advisors. Next one is research analyst. They prepare and publish the research reports and recommendations. They publish unbiased research and maintain records for at least 5 years. They comply with the qualification norms as prescribed by the SEBI. Corporates and LLPs, rupees 25 lakh is the criteria with respect to the net worth. And if they are individuals, rupees 1 lakh is the criteria to be eligible research analyst. Annual compliance audit, maintenance of arm's length basis transactions, and appointment of compliance officer are some of the compliance roles for research analyst. Credit rating agencies, they rate the securities of the companies and they provide opinions on credit worthiness. They issue and monitor the ratings, publish rationally, and inform SEBI about the changes. The eligibility criteria is rupees 25 crore of net worth, half yearly internal audit, and appointment of compliance officer and maintenance of records for at least 5 years are the compliance roles for the credit rating agencies. Next one is depository. NSDL and CDSL, as we have studied in our previous chapter. They maintain the electronic records of securities in DMAT system. They facilitate the DMAT and DMAT of the securities, settlement, transfer, and further interface with DPs are some of the functions of depositories. Rupees 100 crore net worth is the criteria, it's the eligibility criteria for depositories. Compliance with Depositories Act and SEBI regulations and inspections by SEBI are some of the compliance rules for depositories. There are only two depositories in India. 100 crore is the eligibility criteria, and other rules as we have studied. Further, depository participant who acts as the agent to the depository. So he is the DP is the agent of the depository, providing DMAT services to the investors. They open the DMAT accounts, provide further DMAT and dematerialization facility. Pledge, transfer of securities are taken place through the depository participants, and KYC of investors is also undertaken by the depository participants. If their NBFC eligibility criteria is of rupees 50 lakh net worth, and if their RTA is rupees 10 crore is the eligibility criteria. Further, they take periodic audits by depository. They undergo periodic audits by the depository. KYC compliance and record keeping are some of the functions of depository participants. Next, last one is foreign portfolio investors. They are the foreign entities investing in Indian securities market. They are registered via DPs. They maintain the KYC and open bank accounts and appoint custodians. Net worth requirement is as per the SEBI. Compliance with SEBI foreign portfolio regulations, KYC information to the SEBI, and in case of any changes to the information to the SEBI to be given are some of the compliance rules for foreign portfolio investors. So here are some of the case laws from your module. I have provided a small gist of that case law and what was the outcome of that case law I have provided in here. You can give it a read and come across all the rulings which have been made by the SEBI and adjudicating officers from time to time. At last, our very important topic is internal audit of intermediaries by the practicing company secretaries. It is very important from exam point of view. So who must get internal audit and what is the frequency? Registrar and share transfers agents must undergo the internal audit. So annual internal audit by an independent practicing company secretary. No conflict of interest must be involved. Audit to cover the operations, investor grievance mechanism, and statutory compliance of the RTAs. Further, portfolio managers are required to appoint a practicing company secretary for internal audit. Research analysts and research entities also need to undergo annual audit for compliance with research analyst regulation. Investment advisors, yearly compliance audit need to be taken. Credit rating agencies, half-yearly internal audit is required to be undergone by them. A report to be submitted within 2 months of half-year end. It covers credit rating agencies' operations, grievance mechanism, and compliance with the SEBI regulations. Other intermediaries like brokers, custodian, DPs, they must undergo internal and periodic audits as required by the SEBI and exchanges and depository and other bylaws from time to time. They often involve external inspection teams as well. Internal audit scope for CS in practice. So, registration and statutory records, they must verify the SEBI certificates, display at the office, and renewal condition compliances. Books and records, they must verify and retention, they must verify the retention of documents for at least 5 years and 8 years in specific cases, for example, in case of RTAs, and accuracy of accounting entries and reconciliations. Investor grievance redressal, they must verify if the complaint was redressed within the specified timeline, that is either 21 days or 45 days. And scores pay, they must verify all the details and time frame within which the grievance was redressed or remain unredressed. Compliance officer, They must check the appointment of compliance officer within the within the company and and with the specific stock market intermediaries. They have to check if the contact details of the compliance officer was displayed or not. Reporting mechanism for material non-compliances to be checked by the practicing company secretaries. Segregation of duties and internal control. Cash and client funds to be segregated. Custody, client account segregation, flash transfer controls must be looked after if they are being taken by the brokers, RTs, and DPs as per their roles. KYC and AML compliances. They must check if the KYC records and AML reporting has been done properly by the intermediaries. Clients' funds and securities. They must ensure no mixing of clients' assets has been done. Proper settlement and reconciliation of securities is in place. So here we are done with the revision of our chapter. Here is the practical audit deliverable from exam point of view. You can go through and some of the common non-compliances which are observed for your reference I have provided in here. I hope the concept is clear to you. You can go through the notes once for the clear understanding and to recall the concepts well. So thank you and stay hydrated, stay confident for your examinations. And I will be coming up with the further revisions of this subject very soon. Thank you.